Hurricane Ida devastated Lafourche Parish. This week, residents returned to see the wind and flood damage to their homes. A lot of them didn't have a place to go back home at all. You can see the destruction there. Senator Bill Cassidy took a tour of the area and joins us with more. Good morning, Senator. Thank you very much. And I've been saying this for like Lafourche and Terrebonne Parish and into St. John. This was their Katrina.
It was their Katrina. I'm told that 25% of the people in the southern part of the parish have no home to return to. And I can tell you a lot more have a very damaged home to return to. Now, there's a lot of effort being taking place. There was a long line of utility crews, one digging the hole, one putting the pole in, the one securing the pole, and the one hanging the wires. So there's a lot of effort, but that effort's going to take a while longer.
And when you tour down there, I mean, the devastation is just unbelievable because, they got everything. They got storm surge, they got the winds, they got the rain, they got it all.
Yeah, now further in, they didn't have storm surge. And one of the things to say is that the levee protection system worked there.
Yes, that's true.
We know that we can build resilience. So now the question is, how do we build resiliency for the grid as we have built it for levees? Now, if you're outside the levee system, it's awful. But if you're inside the levee system, you typically did well. Now let's work on the grid.
Well, and they did well for flooding, but the wind, the levees cannot stop the wind. The wind was so strong coming into Lafourche. That was a Category 4 storm that hit Lafourche.
Yeah, it really was. And obviously you see things knocked down that you would never imagine would be knocked down. There's still some hope, though. I spoke to some folks on Grand Isle. If a home was built to modern code, that home did pretty well. Did some damage, but still standing did pretty well. Somebody told me in Leeville that 2 homes that were built to code, as opposed to the older homes that have been there for a long time, still standing, and Leeville is otherwise destroyed. So we know that if we can build resilience. That's the message we have to adopt. We can withstand if we invest and build resilience.
And when President Biden came down here, I asked Congressman Steve Scalise if he was going to meet with him. He said yes. Did you meet with the president to get assurances about the recovery efforts here from the federal government?
Yes, he assured me that they would. Now, of course, we're still thinking about Southwest Louisiana, and so we are wanting a disaster relief bill. I hate to say this because you don't wish harm on anybody, but the fact that Northeast United States was also affected, it gives us 2 regions, multiple states, that builds a little bit more political will to pass a disaster relief bill quickly. But the other thing is, I'm sorry, Eric, go ahead.
And you think about, the storms that have hit Louisiana over the past couple of years. We have seen 2 Category 4 storms hit Louisiana. That's just unprecedented.
It is unprecedented. You have to ask if these storms are just not increasing in frequency and intensity, not just coincidence, but expect more in the future. By the way, that's why I'm strongly pushing for the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It allows our state and the entire nation to begin to build in resiliency. So just as the levees protected us from inundation, so our grid can be built to be resilient so that we can avoid having electricity loss for a month at a time.
And as a doctor, this couldn't have come at a worse time in the middle of the 4th surge of COVID.
Yeah, and so one more reason why we need resiliency. We need companies that locate their businesses here to be confident that even if a natural disaster hits, they can be up and running. So resiliency. We need to invest it in now for hurricanes that will come in the future.
And talk about the electrical grid, because, the president was saying if some of those lines had been buried underground, they wouldn't have been susceptible to the wind. I mean, is that part of the infrastructure bill?
Absolutely, it can be. There's $3.5 billion to build resiliency into grids in areas prone to natural disasters. That's us. There's also $3.5 billion to give flexibility. It may be that you have a distributed grid in some areas, for example, rooftop solar to give electricity when otherwise the lines are down. And there's an integration of that with your overall grid. grid. So we need to have that. We can have that. We just have to invest in it. And again, that's the purpose of the infrastructure bill.
All right, Senator. I know you're short on time, but are you satisfied with the response we got from FEMA in the beginning? Because it seems like they could have sent down gas trucks and stuff like that, so there wouldn't have been those long lines.
Yeah, so part of the problem with the gas trucks is that electricity was not to the gas station to pump the gas. Now we're not going to yet know exactly how well things could have gone, and there's always going to be kind of after the fact, let's look at it and see what would have worked better. But there were gas stations with gas in their tanks, but they didn't have the generator to pump it. And so until you got the electricity, they couldn't begin to pump. Now, should we have a whole set of generators that move around the state that go to private gas stations? Yes, but that will require changing the law.
But it does seem like a good idea in hindsight. All right, Senator
Yes.
Cassidy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.